දැන් ලැබුණු ප්‍රවෘත්තියක් වෙතයි අවධානය. කොළඹ ග්‍රෑන්ඩ් පාස් කොස්ගස් හන්දිය ස්වර්ණ චෛත්‍ය පාරේ දෙපිරිසක් අතර අද පස්වරුවේ ඇති වූ නොසන්සුන් තත්වයක් හේතුවෙන් පුද්ගලයන් 4 දෙනෙකු තුවාල ලබා ජාතික රුහලට ඇතුළත් කර තිබෙනවා. අද පස්වරුවේ ඇති වූ මේ නොසන්සුන් තත්වයෙන් ස්වර්ණ චෛත්‍ය පාරේ ගොඩනැගිලි කිහිපයකට හානිය සිදුව තිබෙනවා. මේ අද පස්වරුවේ ඇති වූ සිද්ධියේදී ලබාගත් දර්ශන කිහිපයක් ඔබ දකින්නේ. පොලිස් මාධ්‍ය ප්‍රකාශක පොලිස් අධිකාරී බුද්ධික සිරිවර්ධන මහතා සඳහන් කළේ තත්ත්වය පාලනය කිරීම සඳහා පොලිසිය හා කැරළි මර්දන අංශය එම ස්ථානයට යවා ඇති බවයි. ඔවුන්ගේ සහායට පොලිස් විශේෂ කාර්යබලකායද කැඳවා ඇතැයි අප වාර්තාකරු පැවසුවා. පොලිස් මාධ්‍ය ප්‍රකාශකවරයා සඳහන් කළේ මේ වන විට නොසන්සුන් තත්ත්වය පාලනය කර ඇති බව. නිවුස් ෆස්ට් මාණ්ඩලික වාර්තාකරු අමරශ්‍රී බණ්ඩාර එම ස්ථානයේ රැඳී සිටිනවා. අමරශ්‍රී මේ වන විට ග්‍රෑන්ඩ් පාස් ප්‍රදේශයේ තත්ත්වය පිළිබඳව අපට පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කළොත්.
ඔව්යන් මේ වන විට මා රැඳී සිටින්නේ ග්‍රෑන්ඩ් පාස් ස්වර්ණ චෛත්‍ය මාවතේ මේ පාර මාර්ගයේ දෙපස කිසියම් කණ්ඩායම් දෙකක් නොසන්සුන්කාරී අයුරින් හැසිරෙමින් සිටියමට ටික වෙලාවකට පෙර කෙසේ වෙතත් පොලිසිය මේ වන විට තත්ත්වය පාලනය කිරීමට කටයුතු තිබෙනවා. පළාත බහර ඒ වගේම ප්‍රදේශීය වාර උසස් පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් මේ ස්ථානයට පැමිණ අදාළ තත්ත්වය සමනය කිරීම සඳහා කටයුතු කරන ආකාරය දකින්නට පුළුවන්. මාර්ගයේ එක් පසක එක් කණ්ඩායමක් රැඳී සිටියා. ඒ වගේම අනෙක් පසක තවත් කණ්ඩායමක් රැඳී සිටින මේ කිසියම් මුසුම්කාරී තත්ත්වය නිර්මාණය වී තිබුණේ. කෙසේ වෙතත් මේ වන විට කණ්ඩායම් දෙක දෙපසට කරමින් තත්ත්වය සමනය කිරීම සඳහා කටයුතු යොදා තිබෙනවා. පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් ඒ වගේම විශේෂ කාර්ය බලකායත් මෙම ස්ථානයට ළඟා වී ආරක්ෂාව යොදන ආකාරයක් දකින්නට පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම ප්‍රදේශවාසීන්ගේ එක් කණ්ඩායමක් එක්පසක රැඳී සිටින ආකාරයකට තවදුරටත් දකින්නට පුළුවන්. ස්වර්ණ චෛත්‍ය මාවත මේ ප්‍රදේශයේ මීට කලින් හැඳින්වුවේ බෝලවත්ත නමින් මෙම මාවතේ එක කෙළවරක එක කණ්ඩායමක් රැඳී සිටින්නේ. ඒ වගේම තව පිරිසක් අනෙක් පාර්ශවයේ පාර අද්දරට වන්නට රැඳී සිටියා. කෙසේ වෙතත් පොලිසිය පිරිසක් නිවෙස් වලට යැවීමට කටයුතු කරන ආකාරයක් දකින්නට පුළුවන්. මේ වන විට පවතින තත්ත්වය මේකයි දැන්.
බොහොම ස්තුතියි අමරශ්‍රී. කොළඹ ග්‍රෑන්ඩ් පාස් කොස්ගස් හන්දිය ස්වර්ණ චෛත්‍ය පාරේ සිටයි அமரஸ்ரீ අප සමග சம்பந்த உனி ஷாந்த்.
தற்போது கிடைத்த செய்தி ஒன்று. கொழும்பு கிராண்ட் பாஸ் பலாமரச்சந்தி சுவர்ண சைத்திய வீதி பகுதியில் 2 குழுக்களுக்கு இடையே இன்று மாலை ஏற்பட்ட அமைதியின்மையினால் 4 காயமடைந்து தேசிய வைத்தியசாலையில் அனுமதிக்கப்பட்டுள்ளனர். இன்று மாலை இடம்பெற்ற இந்த அமைதியின்மையினால் சுவர்ண சைத்திய வீதியில் உள்ள சில கட்டடங்களுக்கும் சேதம் ஏற்பட்டுள்ளது. இந்த நிலைமையை கட்டுப்பாட்டிற்குள் கொண்டு வருவதற்காக போலீசார் மற்றும் கலக தடுப்பு பிரிவினர் குறித்த பகுதிக்கு அனுப்பப்பட்டதாக போலீஸ் ஊடக பேச்சாளரும் போலீஸ் அத்தியட்சகருமான புத்திக ஸ்ரீவர்தன தெரிவித்தார். அவர்களின் ஒத்துழைப்புக்கு போலீஸ் விசேட அதிரடிப்படையினரும் அழைக்கப்பட்டுள்ளதாக எமது செய்தியாளர் தெரிவித்தார். அமைதியின்மை தற்போது கட்டுப்பாட்டிற்குள் கொண்டுவரப்பட்டுள்ளதாக போலீஸ் ஊடக பேச்சாளர் கூறினார். அமேஷ்.
Thank you, Prashant. In news just in, 4 individuals who sustained injuries during a tense situation that arose between two groups down Swarna Chaitya Road in Grand Pass, Colombo, have been admitted to the Colombo National Hospital. Now, several buildings were also damaged as a result of the unrest that occurred this evening. The visuals that you are witnessing now are from the unrest that occurred in Grand Pass this evening. Police media spokesperson SP Buddhika Sirivadan noted that the police and riot police have been deployed to control the situation. Our correspondent at the location noted that the police STF has also been summoned to the location. Police media spokesperson SP Buddhika Sirivadan added that the unrest which broke out has been contained. The news item once again, 4 individuals who sustained injuries during a tense situation that arose between two groups in Grand Pass have been admitted to the Colombo National Hospital.
Hello there, good evening. This is Primetime Weekend News. We start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
President inquires into the shortcomings of the people in Hasalaka. Book containing data on tamed elephants disappears. Wildlife office sealed. Stones pelted at an event organized by the Indian Consul Office in Hambantota. Various parties stress on the need for an impartial investigation into the unrest that broke out in Katupaswala.
හමුදාය තුවක්කු ගන්න නෙවෙයි තියෙන්නේ. අනදුන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා.
Leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Somavan Samarasinghe, expressed these views on the recent incident in Ratupaswala during a public rally in Rattata Matale.
තමුන්නාසලා තමයි වැඩිම සහයෝගය දීලා තියෙන යුද්ධෙට. තමුන්නාසලාගේ දූපතුන් තමයි ගිහිලා
It was your children who sacrificed their lives and became war heroes. However, if the same government is telling the war heroes turn their weapons on their mothers, fathers, sisters and brothers, then what is the point in such a government? They can't find the individual who gave the order to shoot the people. In the near future, anyone will be able to kill anyone else. They said they took 93 weapons into custody. All these belong to the army. What should be done is to find the person who issued the order. Is this difficult? Under whose leadership was the army deployed? Which deployed the army?
Minister of Economic Development Basil Rajapaksa has called for forgiveness from the public over the attack on the protest in Valiveria.
Making a special statement to the Maubima newspaper, Minister Basil Rajapaksa had expressed his wholehearted regret of the loss of life and property in this incident. The minister reiterated that it is unfortunate that several media personnel had to face grave inconveniences while engaging in the legitimate functions. Basil Rajapaksa notes that the people do not condone such actions of the security forces and emphasizes that he neither approves nor gets involved in any manner of disturbance, as he strongly abhors them and wishes to disassociate him from such incidents. He added that some elements who were involved in the protests wanted to create an embarrassing situation to take advantage. The Minister of Economic Development also noted in his special statement that he was not involved in the incident in any way and reminded the public that he would take steps to close down the factory which is at the center of the controversy in Valiveria if it was found to have violated the conditions of their agreements.
Issuing a media release, Human Rights Watch has emphasized the need for an independent inquiry into the deaths of protesters who demanded for clean water in Valiveria. Human Rights Watch notes that the Sri Lankan government should stop issuing misleading information and promptly create an inquiry which is both transparent and independent.
The release issued by the Human Rights Watch notes that the unclear circumstances leading to the deaths and injuries in Valiveria, as well as the government statement exonerating the soldiers involved, highlight the need for an independent investigation. South Asia Director of the Human Rights Watch, Meenakshi Ganguly notes, quote, instead of promoting the military's version of the events, the government should order an independent investigation and prosecute anyone who violates the law, unquote. Human Rights Watch notes that although the Army and the National Human Rights Commission have announced inquiries into the incident, neither of these institutions are in a position to conduct an impartial investigation which would be viewed as credible. The release also calls on the Sri Lankan government to ensure that security forces responding to protests abide by the United Nations basic principles on the use of force and firearms by law enforcement officials. Meenakshi Ganguly also notes that, quote, the authorities' decision to send soldiers armed with assault rifles to secure a demonstration is deeply worrisome. The government needs to rethink its whole approach to ensure that people can peacefully and safely protest, unquote.
Leader of the Democratic Party, Sarath Fonseka, met with the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam Mahanikaya today.
Sarath Fonseka, who arrived in Kandy in a motorcade from the Gatabe Junction, paid homage to the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic. Thereafter, he met with the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Tibutuave Sri Sumangala Thero.
විරුද්ධ පක්ෂය ශක්තිමත් නැහැ කියන මතයේ ජනතාව ඉන්නවා.
The people are of the view that the opposition is not strong. The people need an alternate political ideology. That is why the Democratic Party has come forward to contest for all 3 provincial councils. We will always contest with new faces because powerful politicians who destroy the country will never agree with our policies. Their policies are based on personal agendas. That is why we are contesting for the elections with new faces.
ඒගොල්ලෝගේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති හැම වෙලේම පුද්ගලික න්‍යාය පත්‍ර මතයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒකහන්ද මේ අලුත් චරිතත් එක්ක අපි මෙවර මේ මැතිවරණ වලට තරඟ වදිනවා.
Investigations are being carried out by various units into the disappearance of the data record book of the Department of Wildlife containing records of tamed elephants in the island. Director General of Wildlife MD Ratnayaka said that detectives had sealed the office where the data record book had been placed.
The Director General of Wildlife said that the investigations have revealed the data record book on tamed elephants had gone missing from the Department of Wildlife over a year ago. Thereby, the police and the wildlife officers sealed the office where the data record book was placed and commenced their investigations. We have received information that the CR book on the registration of elephants has been misplaced and covered that the book had been missing over a year ago. Right now, I have instructed for an extensive investigation. According to the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance, it is mandatory to obtain a license or a permit in order to rear elephants. For this purpose, all the information relating to the elephant, including photographs, need to be submitted. The book that is reported to be missing from the Department of Wildlife is this particular book. It is an important document. If you need to rear an elephant, all the information on the elephant needs to be included in the book. Therefore, it is an important book. This book will help identify false documents that have been compiled to rear elephants. Over the recent past, we noticed that a large number of elephant calves are being used for shows and are being kept as pets by politicians and VIPs. We suspect that these elephants were captured from the forest illegally because the adult elephants are not with the young. As environmentalists, we had questioned about the disappearance of this book. Is this paving the way to give a legal basis to keep these animals? All those who wear elephants possess the necessary documents. We have the permit or the license issued by the department and a document given in renewing it annually. I do not think it will be an issue for us. I reported the matter to the President. I also told the President that I will take the necessary steps regarding it. I also addressed
Number of incidents on the destruction of state property from sudden disasters and misplacement of documents reported in the recent past. Heist at the National Museum. Fire at the Colombo Cartieri. Fire at the Terminal 1 at the dockyard of the Colombo port. Fire at the Satosa building in Colombo. Latest revelation, book with the records of tamed elephants disappears. Tomorrow.
An event organised by the Indian Consular General Office in Sri Lanka to commemorate 100 years of Indian cinema had to be called off midway after stones were hurled at the stage during a performance.
This event was organised by the Indian Consular General's Office at the Hambantota beach. The event commenced at around 6:30 last evening, and according to the Office of the Police Media spokesperson, over 5,000 persons were in attendance to witness the events. During a performance, stones were hurled at the stage at around 8:30 last night from the direction of the audience. The police said no one was harmed in the attack and investigations are underway. The dance troupe was taken to their accommodation under police protection. The police said that the troupe left for Colombo today. Speaking the news first, the spokesperson for the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka, Virendra Singh, had this to say.
We condemn the incident of stone throwing which happened during the performance organized by our Consulate General of India. We strongly believe that such incidents by unruly members of audience would not impact the excellent bilateral relationship between India and Sri Lanka, which is based.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa engaged in religious observances at the historical Mahiyangana Raja Mahaviharaya this morning.
President Rajapaksa paid homage to the Mahiyangana Chaitya, the Buddha Mandirya and the Relics Chamber. Later, the head of state called on the senior Sangha Sabhika of the Askiri Sangha Council, chief incumbent of the Mahiyangana Temple, Venerable Urulewata Dhammarakkhita Thera. The President also looked into the development taking place in the area before heading off to the historical Saman Devalaya to engage in religious observances. Last evening, President Mahinda Rajapaksa attended an event to mark the International Day for Indigenous People. President Rajapaksa also inquired into the issues faced by people in Hasalaka during a tour of the area. After the event, the President first looked into the well-being of the resident of Moravava before heading to the Bambia Diavara village in Minipe. The President also laid floral tributes to the statue of the late veteran war hero Hasalaka Gamini, who sacrificed his life on the Battle of Elephant Pass. The President later called on the chief incumbent of the Thorapitiya, Sri Nigrodharama Vihara in Hasalaka.